It must be Miss Whitney.
She said she'd wait. I'd better check.
It's coming down.
It is Murcott's secretary. What happened to her?
That's what the cops are gonna ask you.
You like your coffee, huh?
All right, I shouldn't have left. You've made mistakes, Lieutenant.
Not lately. And that $350,000 worth.
Doc's getting a car for the girl. He says if you want to talk to her, you better do it now. Her name's Mona Whitney.
I'll talk to her. You sit over there. I'll finish with you later.
Yes, sir.
What'd you find out, Lou?
First 5 floors of the building are solid garage space. All locked off tonight except the first floor. They had a guard at the garage entrance and an attendant in the lobby. We're checking out the people they pass through.
You can bet this Charlie didn't sign out when he left. Any other ways out?
No problem getting in. They were probably in the building when it closed. Pretty rough getting out. With a picture that big.
They could have stashed it. Get some men and start looking.
22 floors?
If they didn't get out downstairs, they could still be here. They can't fly away.
That they couldn't.
Hey, what are you trying to do?
That veterinarian thinks I'm going out in the street with this thing on. He's out of his mind.
You better leave it on. You're not going to be feeling so chipper in a little while.
But, oh, I don't feel so chipper right now.
Feel like answering a few questions?
Do I have a choice?
I assume you'd like to help us find that painting. $350,000 is a lot of money, even for a Fragonard.
It was a steal at that price. What do you know about Fragonard?
And there was a French painter born in 1732. Famous for his paintings on love, and once decorated the apartment of Madame du Barry. Died in Paris, 1806.
If you aren't the living end, an art-loving cop.
Look, Miss Whitney, they're going to come for you in a few minutes. Now, you want to tell me what happened?
I got clobbered on the head.
We know that. Why were you in the office?
I'm Mr. Murcott's secretary. He's up at Stanford in Palo Alto, and he sent me a telegram.
What time was that?
About 2:30.
In the morning?
Oh, that's my boy. He said he was taking a flight down from Stanford and transferring to a New York flight, leaving at 5 a.m. He wanted me to come down to the office and pick up all the papers on the painting and bring them to him at the airport.
Do you think he intended to sell it in New York?
Well, that's the best market. He didn't buy it to hang it in his den.
How did he buy it?
At an auction in London last month. It was in all the papers.
Was the telegram delivered or phoned in?
The girl called me. I got dressed and came right down. The guard said he wanted to go out for some coffee, so I told him I'd stay until he got back.
What time was that?
About 3 o'clock, I guess. I turned off the burglar alarm and went in. I was just unlocking the door to this office when I heard someone behind me. I thought it was the guard, and then the show closed.
You didn't see him? You didn't see anything?
The car's here to take Miss Whitney home.
You're right with you, Lou. Miss Whitney, who has keys to the key lock switch for the burglar alarm?
There are only 2, and Mr. Murcott has the other one. It turns off the alarm on the door, and then there's another switch inside here for the rest of the system.
I know how it works, Miss Whitney. You better get on home and get some rest. We'll talk again tomorrow.
I can't say it hasn't been fun.
The officer in the hall will take you to the car. What do you think?
Who knows? She said that Murcott's up at Stanford in Palo Alto. He was supposed to take a 5 a.m. flight to New York this morning from here.
What airline?
Well, there should be only one flight. Send Sullivan down and have somebody check up on that Palo Alto setup. Try the art department at Stanford as soon as it opens.
Okay.
Thanks. Now, did you see anything that could help us?
Well, it was real quiet, Lieutenant. No action at all until the girl showed up about 3. I asked her if she'd watch the store while I got some coffee, and she said okay. So I left her at the door and took the elevator down.
You didn't see anybody?
Not a soul.
They're working on Murcott.
What time did you get back to the building?
3:12. Exactly 3:12.
What makes you so sure?
Because of the helicopter.
What helicopter?
When I came back, I saw this helicopter right over the building. I never saw one flying at night, especially so low.
Possible.
You need me for any more, Lieutenant?
You stay right here.
Impossible was not the right word. A helicopter could land on the roof of a downtown building and carry a man away from the scene of his crime. Improbable was the word, because in all the department's history, there was no record of a helicopter being used for illegal purposes. They're used by all the armed forces and for civilian rescue work, firefighting, air taxis, and more recently, police and sheriff's departments. Now, for the first time, a criminal had torn a leaf from the police manual. Lieutenant Tyler told Sergeant Kurnitz to check everyone in the immediate area, all-night restaurants, service stations, newsstands, to see if anyone had seen a helicopter land on the building roof. Told him to have the men from Crime Lab comb the roof itself. He said that he would call the department's air patrol to send over a man. They sent me, Sergeant Bob Castle.
Promotions come pretty quick for you pilots, Sergeant. You know, you may not like it here. Here we just play the ground game. Just keep on banging away till they give up or fall down.
Played guard in college.
Oh, college man, too, huh?
Yes, sir.
Tyler Robbery. No, just get his name and where I can reach him. You didn't see it land, huh? What'd the lab boys say? They think. Don't they know? All right, call me back. Did they fill you in before they sent you over?
Yes, sir.
Well, an attendant at an all-night service station saw the helicopter over the building. He didn't see it land or take off. But the lab boys are 98% certain that a chopper did land on the roof. They're 98% certain. That's good enough for me. Well, that's the case of the missing helicopter, Sergeant. How do you go about finding it?
The city doesn't license copters. That's FAA's function. But Air Patrol has a record of all private and public helicopters. First, I check all owners in the area to find out if they've been approached to lease or fly at night. Nothing came of that. I'd hit the field, start checking logbooks, asking questions. Also send out an APB to all surrounding communities asking them to check their local heliports. The average helicopter has a cruising range of about 170 miles. This one could have come from out of town.
Murcott's back.
Here?
At his office. Screaming.
And he didn't go to New York.
Not to strip. Oh, incidentally, the Whitney girl has a record. Disturbing the peace. Struck an officer, according to the report.
She leads a full life. Have the boys pick her up and bring her to my office. I'll go to Murcott's. Oh, you have R&I put a check on all losers that can fly helicopters. You know everything else.
Yes, sir.
Oh, by the way, don't waste your charm on Miss Whitney. She's a cop hater.
Nobody's in a position to stand a loss like this. I have no intention of sitting around waiting for you people to read about the robbery over your morning coffee. I'm sure you are. You'll be a good deal more concerned when you give me a check for $350,000. It's the same story every time with you people. You're Johnny on the spot with your hand out when it comes to collecting premiums. But you're long gone from Bowling Green when a claim is filed. All right. He should have been here when I arrived. I'll wait a half hour longer. No more. What do you want?
Lieutenant Tyler, Sergeant Kurnitz, robbery detail.
So the police finally arrived?
They arrived at 3:28 this morning. Where were you at that time?
Why?
We checked your hotel that you were supposed to stay at in Palo Alto, and they said you'd canceled out. We'd like to know where you did go.
I was invited to stay with a friend from the university, Dr. Schuster.
According to your secretary, you wired that you were taking the 5 a.m. flight to New York. What made you change your mind?
Mona said that?
She said you wired it to pick up all the papers on the picture and meet you at the airport.
I didn't send that wire, Lieutenant. I was planning to go to New York, but not for a day or two. You must be mistaken.
She said a woman called from Western Union.
If there was such a call, it could have been any woman.
Perhaps. I'm going to need all the information you can give me on that picture.
A painting? Well, here. Fortunately, I had all this material prepared for my trip east. Complete description of Fragonard's Garland of Love. It was from his late period. History of owners and sales. Color photographs.
You're trying to reach Miss Whitney. She isn't home. You'll have to talk to her after we talk to her.
Where is she?
You mind? You must be Miss Whitney.
Commonly referred to as the Whitney woman.
I'm Sergeant Castle.
That name does nothing for me, Sergeant, should it?
I'm helping Lieutenant Tyler.
Oh? How?
Excuse me.
I was only trying to make conversation.
Dave Hart, please. Sergeant Castle. I'll hold.
Tyler in? He owes me for last week.
Can I have one of those?
Sure. There you are. Hey, paid cash. She'll never make the force, huh, Sergeant? When's Tyler coming back?
Dave? Bob Castle. Fine, thanks. We're checking on a copter flight over the city sometime this morning between 2 and 4 a.m. That's right, at night. I know it is, but somebody did. Right. I'll be out to see you. Let me know if you hear anything. You bet. Bye.
What you checking on heliocopters for?
Oh, good, Miss Whitney.
Hey, you owe me $1. You missed me last week. I figured you was in here, but the door was locked and I couldn't get in.
Forget your pass key? Give him $1, will you? Miss Whitney, our records show here that on March 16th, you were arrested for striking an officer.
My club was putting on an outdoor art show. He tried to break it up.
Did you have a permit?
If you mean did we pay off, no.
She don't look like no criminal to me.
Get out of here. You told me last night that you went down to the office to turn off the burglar alarm at a particular moment because you were instructed to do so by telegram from Mr. Murcott.
I was.
Well, he says he sent no telegram. We checked with Western Union, and they claim that they transmitted no telegram to you of any kind last night.
That's not true. The woman said she was calling from Western Union. She read me the message.
Do you have the exact wordage of the message?
No, not exactly. I wrote the plane time down on my phone pad.
Did you receive printed confirmation of the telegram this morning?
Not before I left.
You know, Miss Whitney, you realize, of course, that we only have your unsupported word that any such phone call was made. Mr. Murcott said he had no plans to go to New York today.
Oh, but Mr. Murcott was going to New York. He had to.
Why?
He said that if he didn't sell the Fragonard, he'd be ruined.
Did he tell you why?
You'll have to ask Mr. Murcott.
I will. Take Miss Whitney home. See if there has been a printed confirmation of the telegram. If not, she says she wrote the plane times down on a telephone pad. I'd like to know if this is true. Oh, just a moment. When Murcott went to London to bid on that painting, who was he representing?
Millard Nolan.
The actor? Did he buy the painting for Nolan?
No.
You don't need a detective to find an actor. You call his agent. The agent told Tyler that Nolan was doing a one-day bit in a small picture. A long drop from the days when he was one of America's favorite screen villains. When crime stopped paying, he gave up acting in favor of marriage to wealthy women. He acquired hobbies, a rather remarkable art collection, and protégées, pretty young ladies who wanted to get into the movies. He lost his wife over one of them, and the art collection went with her. So Nolan, always being a liberal spender, suddenly found himself old, broke, and alone. Well, almost.
Mr. Nolan?
Yeah?
We're police officers, Lieutenant Tyler and Sergeant Kurnitz.
Good. Good, I'm happy to meet you, gentlemen.
Mr. Nolan?
We're doing a little mystery show here. Perhaps you'd like to volunteer your tactical services. I'm joking, of course.
What are you doing in the picture, Mr. Nolan?
Well, that's a good question. If you mean what I'm playing, why, it's only it's a sort of cameo, a vignette, you might call it. You, young director, trying to get a start in the business. A friend of mine, I told him if he ever needed me, I'd lend him a hand.
I imagine he appreciates that.
It pays nothing, really. Never worked for your friend, Sergeant. Now, what can I do for you, gentlemen?
We'd like any help you can give us on the Fragonard painting. You saw I was stolen.
Yes, in the papers. It's ridiculous, this business of stealing famous paintings. They can't sell them, you know.
We understand that originally you commissioned Murcott to bid on the picture for you in London.
Yes, that's true.
Did he?
Well, no, he didn't, Lieutenant. You heard about my divorce. When I sent Murcott to London, I gave him a letter of credit. My wife and I were not getting along very well at the time. It didn't have her signature, only mine. When she heard about it, she canceled the letter of credit. She was handling most of our money at the time.
Well, then, Murcott bought the painting on his own?
Here are the hamburgers, Ollie.
I'll be with you in a few minutes, my dear. No, Murcott couldn't quite finance the Fragonard at the time. So I understand that he formed a syndicate on the understanding that he'd sell the painting at a considerable profit.
Could he, would you say?
Oh, no question about it. The art market's gone completely insane.
Well, thanks, Mr. Nolan. We won't keep you. Oh, there's one more thing. Did Murcott have his own money in the painting?
I believe so. All of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Not while they're here, you little idiot.
No telegram.
I don't care whether anybody believes me or not. I did get the phone call.
Are these yours? I mean, did you paint them? Didn't know you were a painter.
Well, I don't tell everybody. It's a controversial subject like politics or religion.
I meant I thought you were a secretary.
Oh, I hate office work, but I have to eat while I'm studying.
They show a lot of vitality.
Thank you. The phone pad is over on the desk.
Thanks.
Convinced?
It'll help. May I keep this?
Oh, if you like.
You're quite a doodler.
Well, I'm one of the best. I'll even initial it for you. Who knows? Someday it may be worthless. Hello? Oh, Mr. Murcott. Yes, I know. It's much better, thank you. It's just a little cut, but a big bump. I combed my hair over it, so... Well, are you sure you won't need me? Yes. Thank you, sir. Goodbye. Gave me the day off.
Better take care of that bump.
I think I'll try to finish that.
None of my business, but what started you painting?
Nobody paints in the little town I came from.
Is that a reason?
It is for me. You don't understand that, do you? Would you like a cup of instant?
I can't, sorry.
The good lieutenant wouldn't like it.
I'm depending on the good lieutenant to get me assigned to robbery detail.
I thought you were in it.
Just on this case. I'm with Air Patrol. Helicopters.
Milk?
No, thanks.
That sounds like more fun to me. Where'd you ever learn to fly a helicopter?
In the service. When the department started Air Patrol, they transferred me. I had other ideas. I'm sure you don't want to hear my troubles.
Oh, I don't know. It's the first time I've ever listened to a man whose department didn't understand him.
Well, we'll have to do it again. I'll tell you about the force as a career, and you can tell me about the town where nobody paints. Yes, ma'am. A lot of vitality. After leaving Mona Whitney, I went out to the Air Patrol heliport. Since most helicopter operators headquarter at airports, my legwork had to be done by air. Helicopter 305-10-8. All future transmissions will be on channel 2. One operator in our area with the record. Jean Street, bad check, 1952, probation. No subsequent arrests. It wasn't much, but it was a place to start. Jean Street had the best alibi in the world. He'd been in Alaska for 6 months prospecting for an oil company. Helicopters are expensive, and many operators depend on prospecting or fire patrol contracts to pay off their equipment. I crossed Jean Street off the list and started the long grind of routine questioning. Fortunately, there are not as many privately owned helicopters as you'd think by watching the sky. By mid-afternoon, I'd covered most of the possibilities. Even so, I might have missed the only lead of the day if one operator hadn't complained about a new competitor. The competitor was Oliver Dunning. He said he'd been in business several months. This was his first contact with Air Patrol.
Here's my FAA file, Sergeant. Help yourself. Everything okay?
It's all right for now. I'll drop back later for the rest. Right now, we're interested in something else. Were you flying over the city this morning about 3 a.m.?
Oh, not me, Sergeant. I know my regulations. My last trip was yesterday noon.
Any idea who might have been?
At 3 o'clock, I was in my own bed, sound asleep.
Seems like none of you guys were up last night. May I see your logbook? It's a nice rig you got out there. Buy it new?
Brand spanking. It's the pride and joy. Here you are.
Thanks. Dunning seemed to be telling the truth. I ran a make on it. It was negative. Came down from San Francisco where he'd been working for an operator. They had nothing on him.
Real upright citizen, huh?
Hey, Lieutenant, will you fix a traffic ticket for me?
Sorry.
Boy, you're a big help. Whatever happened to the old-time friendly cop on the beat?
Finally made sergeant. Didn't know you had a car.
I don't. I got it for jaywalking.
You're speeding the stretch. It's lucky you weren't killed. Pay the $2.
Sure. Hey, you find the picture yet?
Not yet.
You know, when I read in the paper the lieutenant's gonna handle this case, you know what I say? Lots of luck, Charlie.
Better get out of here. I'll buy her from the building. Anything more in Dunning?
The outfit he bought the copter from's worried about him. He came in with a big down payment, but he's behind. He thought he had a fire patrol contract, but it blew up on him.
You gonna repossess?
They were until last week.
Oh?
Dunning came through with a payment, a fat one.
Lou, I want to arrange a stakeout on this Oliver Dunning. No, not you. Get Sullivan to do it. If he's a wrong-o, the kid here might have put a scare into him. See where he goes tonight. Right away. You all let out to Kurnitz. He'll arrange a stakeout. Say, you've covered a lot of ground today in that egg beater. You like air patrol?
Not particularly, but the department likes me there.
The gates, Vern.
Oh, don't tell me you fellas have the Murcott policy.
You all too well know.
This is Bob Castle, Howie Franklin. His wife wanted him to quit the force and go into the insurance business, so he retired at 65.
At 60? How are you?
Fine, thanks. You excuse me?
Sure. Don't let me flatten the wheels of justice. Nobody has enough time until they're old, and then what good is it? Well, how are they treating you?
They keeping me busy.
You, still living in that stinking hotel room?
Still sticking your nose in other people's business?
You and I know the jails are full of guys who got tired sitting around hotel rooms. She's been gone 4 years, Vern. Why don't you find a better place to live?
I thought about it, Howie, but it's kind of tough with all that furniture and stuff in storage.
There's more than furniture and stuff in storage.
Let's talk about the Fragonard.
Lou filled me in on it. Doesn't look too promising. You can't sell anything as well known as this.
Well, we have a few leads. There's Dunning, Murcott, and the girl.
Well, there are two kinds of people that will steal the famous painting. The first is a screwball. A person who wants to hang it in the basement to enjoy it for himself, or who thinks he can sell it in South America or some other such place. The second kind is the kidnapper, who will steal a painting and then try and ransom it back to the owner.
That makes more sense.
Either way, it won't be a pro.
You mean like Murcott?
Or the girl, for that matter.
Well, I know that Murcott's in financial difficulty, and the girl isn't getting anywhere the way she's going. Be a lot easier for them than anyone else.
Yes, that's what some of my people think.
What's your company doing about it?
Nothing yet.
Just going to sit and wait?
We're not going to have to wait long, Vern. A kidnapper always keeps in touch.
Here's the morning mail. I haven't gone through it yet.
Here, let me. I'll use this.
Beast! The stupid beasts!
How can you be sure this was cut from the Fragonard?
It's my business to be sure. They cut a 1-inch strip right across the bottom. A masterpiece that belongs to the whole world that can't be replaced.
Take this down to the lab.
Cutting the painting out of its frame is one thing, but deliberately defacing it. A man who'd do a thing like this doesn't deserve to live. Well, what are we all standing here for?
Mr. Murcott.
Mr. Murcott. I'll get him. Just a minute. Just a minute. Yes, I'll get him. I'm not sure about this call. It could be the one they want, Mr. Murcott.
Mr. Murcott. Mr. Murcott. Mr. Murcott, please. Mr. Murcott.
This is Murcott. Who are you?
Mr. Murcott.
This is Murcott. What do you want? It stopped.
Trace it.
Mr. Murcott, we have the Fragonard. Repeat, we have the Fragonard. Our price is $100,000 in small, unmarked bills. Serial numbers must not be consecutive. You'll be told where to bring the money at 4 this afternoon. If the police interfere, you will receive instead a wider strip of the painting. Please do not force us to destroy this masterpiece.
This is Murcott. I want to talk to you. Hello. Hello. He hung up. That voice.
Sounded like a tape recorder at slow speed.
Well, whoever it is, whatever it is, we've got to raise $100,000 by 4 this afternoon. What'll your company's attitude be?
This company's attitude's the same as the department's. Paying the ransom would be compounding a felony.
Compounding a felony? Is he right, Franklin?
Officially, yes.
Are you trying to tell me we're going to let this maniac slowly cut up the Fragonard while the police fumble around trying to find him? And as far as compounding a felony is concerned, what about the ransoms paid for getting kidnapped children back?
Where a child's concerned, it's sometimes just a little bit different.
A little different? Huh, I should think so. There's millions of children, more than little beggars being born every minute. The Fragonard's one of a kind that can't be replaced.
Is that the only reason you're so anxious to pay the thief?
What other reason could there be?
While the police were fumbling around, we checked up on your purchase of the picture. We know about Nolan's cancellation. We also know that you have all of your own money and quite a bit of your friends tied up in this speculation.
If you know all that, you also know that the Fragonard is insured for its full purchase price. What are you insinuating, Lieutenant?
I don't think the lieutenant's insinuating anything at all, Mr. Murcott. The department's position in a case of this kind is that it's more important to catch the criminal than it is to regain the stolen property. You see, the property is mixed up in only one crime, while the thief continues to steal until he's caught.
The department's patience is very commendable, but I don't intend to wait. What is your company's position?
Well, I'll have to talk to my company before I can answer that.
You do that. They can pay the 100, or they'll wind up paying $350.
Did you get it?
The call came from a public phone booth at 3rd and Shear, abandoned service station.
Anybody see him?
The boys are checking, but not much chance. How much they want?
100,000 by 4 o'clock this afternoon.
It's a lot of money, not much time.
If our good friends do what I think they're going to do, we have exactly 6 hours.
Tyler assigned me to checking out the homes near Dunning's heliport to see if anyone had heard a helicopter take off or land the night of the theft. We had Dunning staked out around the clock. They reported that he had gone to his apartment the night before at 6:40 and had not left until 7:14 this morning. He had gone directly to his office at the hangar and had not come out since. Officers said that he lived 2 blocks from the field and had walked both ways. I was drawing a blank on my house-to-house questioning. The trouble was, most of the housewives were so used to the sound of helicopters that they claimed not to notice them. That is, all but one.
Get off that bell. You want to wake the whole house?
Who is it?
Pipe down. Give me a chance to find out.
Sergeant Bob Castle, Police Department.
Yeah, well, try to keep it down, Junior. My husband works a swing shift. Winnie's working.
You want to tell me who it is, or do I come out there?
It's the cops. Now, you still want to come out, big mouth? Look, if it's a traffic ticket, we ain't got a car. And if it's tickets to the policeman's ball, we don't dance.
Just some information, if you can help me, please. We're checking on a helicopter that may have taken off from Vista Field between 2 and 4 o'clock yesterday morning.
Well, it's about time somebody came to check on them ugly, noisy things.
Did you hear anything, Mrs.?
Mrs. Jactor, if it flew, I heard it. I'm very sensitive to noise. Sam knew that. And where does he buy a house? Right in the middle of the flight pattern.
Well,
You know what a flight pattern is? Well, I can tell you it is hell on earth. Noisy. I told Sam I'd just soon live with his mother. And then this helicopter business starts.
Did you hear anything early yesterday morning?
Yesterday morning. Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning between 2 and 4 a.m.
Yeah, I heard it all right. I even woke Sam up just so he could get a taste of what I put up with. A couple hours later, it came back. And I thought they wasn't supposed to fly at night.
They aren't. Did you hear it when it returned?
Sure, he heard it come back. We was still fighting about me waking him up when it left.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Jactor. You've been a great help.
Well, hey, what are you going to do about those helicopters?
If you don't mind, we'll be back later for a statement.
Well, hey, I'm not supposed to help you. You're supposed to help me. Now, I thought you was going to do something about the noise around here.
Hortense, what's going on out there?
I told you to pipe down. Hey, officer, officer.
You tell him, Lou. Makes the bottom of my feet hurt.
We lost Dunning. He just walked away, that's all. While they were watching the front door from the car, he went through a side door into the hangar. From there, it was easy to keep out of sight. He walked over to his place, got in his car, and took off.
What tipped him off?
Who knows? Maybe when you talked to him. Or he found out he was being tailed.
You got a description of the car?
61 white wagon. He's probably holed up, but if he's on the road, we've got a good chance.
I think something's gone wrong. It's after 4 o'clock. They said they cut the Fragonard to ribbons if the police interfered. How do you know they're not watching this office?
We don't, but we know they can't make a dime by cutting up the picture. They'll call us, even though they know we're here.
You promised.
I promised to give you a chance to pay off. It's as far as I go. I'm not in business to make crime a paying proposition.
I told you we'd get all the cooperation we needed from Lieutenant Tyler. Now just sit down and relax, Mr. Murcott.
If you're nervous, I can take down the call. Tell you the truth, I'm surprised you even know shorthand.
Well, I may be a little wacky, but I'm not stupid.
I mean, most art students won't go near a business course.
They do if they want to eat.
Ever tried to sell a painting?
Sell one? Since my mother ran out of wall space, I haven't been able to give one away.
Mr. Murcott.
Mr. Murcott.
Please. Mr. Murcott, please.
They're on the line.
Trace it, Lou.
Mr. Murcott, please. Mr. Murcott, listen carefully. We will not repeat. Tomorrow morning at 7, Miss Whitney will go to a telephone booth next to 1981 Jewel Street. Miss Whitney will carry the money and will be alone at all times. At 7 o'clock, she will receive a telephone call which will tell her where to take the money. We warn you again, this is your only chance. If you or the police interfere in any way, the painting will be destroyed.
Hello. Hello. I flatly refuse. If you want your money, hello. Hello. That's impossible, gentlemen. I refuse to risk that girl's life for a painting, regardless of what it's worth. If they want their money, they'll have to take it from me.
Well, I know exactly how you feel, Mr. Murcott, but unfortunately, they're making the rules.
Either we do it right or we don't do it at all. You make one change in the setup, and they'll run like rabbits. If I were you, I'd drop the ransom.
I don't mind going, Mr. Murcott.
You don't know what you're getting into.
I said I'd go, and I'll go. Why should they do anything to me if they get the money?
Who knows why people like this do anything? I don't want you to go through with it.
Well, I think we should. They'll destroy the painting.
What do you think, Franklin?
If the young lady's willing, I think it's worth a gamble. After all, we don't stand much of a chance of catching them unless they show themselves.
Can the police protect her?
They'll do their best.
what you want to meet here for. They'll close the building in a few minutes.
I told you not to call me.
You told me they'd never figure on a chopper. Yesterday, the cops were out. Last night, they put a tail on me.
That's no reason for us to be seen together, Ollie.
That's easy for you to say. They're not after you.
No, they're not, Ollie. Are they?
Well, they decided she's gonna go, so she's gonna go.
So if you can't protect her, why not try my way?
You can't follow her in a helicopter. It's too noisy, too easy to spot.
Over 1,500 feet, the noise is no problem, and they won't be looking for a helicopter. Look, there's nothing out there on Jewel Street except a couple of old warehouses. You get a prowl car within a mile of that phone booth, and they'll spot it.
Wherever they want the payoff made won't be any different.
I'm still afraid of it, Vern.
I can follow them anywhere they go and keep in touch with you. You keep the other cars close, but not too close.
Let me do the thing in this case, Sergeant. You just worry about flying that copter, huh? Tyler robbery. What? How long ago? Don't bother to tell me. Let me use my imagination. Maybe suicide, maybe not. Wait till I find the guy that hired him. Right. I'll be over as soon as I can. Dunning fell off the top of Murcott's building. They just found him. What's left of him.
Just a minute.
Say you some pizza, ma'am?
What kind?
Pepperoni and anchovy.
Come on in and I'll think about it. Does the good lieutenant know you're here?
That he does.
No, then anything I say can be used against me.
Well, I think you're clear now, Lieutenant's book.
What about your book, Sergeant?
I'm just an admirer bearing pizza.
Well, in that case, I'll heat it up. Would you like some wine?
Please.
You pour it, huh?
Sure.
You don't like it, do you?
Too early to tell.
Well, you know, children go through a period where they put a big sun in all their paintings, and I never seem to have outgrown it.
Well, the rest of you grew up just fine. Let's drink to that.
You know, I don't think you can call this art as much as therapy.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I'm for it. You really serious about painting?
I used to be, very. Then I found out I just wasn't cut out to be a beatnik. So I got this job with Mr. Murcott.
You don't have to be a beatnik to be a painter.
You do if you can't paint. Let's not talk about it, huh?
Mona, you don't have to go through with this tomorrow. It's not too late to change your mind.
You know, I've never really been very good at anything. But I want to be good when I do this. Maybe I just want to show everybody I can. But I am scared, Bob. I'm really scared.
Helicopter 305-10-8.
Time to go now. Lou, you better stay here with Mr. Murcott. In case anything goes wrong, they might call here.
Right.
I'll be here, too, in case you need me.
There's still time to change. I can go.
No, I'm all right now, really.
The convertible is parked across the street from the entrance. Now, just follow the route we laid out for you and don't take any chances. Sergeant Castle will have you in sight at all times, and I'll follow as close as I can. Ready?
At exactly 6:40, I was over the building. To avoid detection, we had planned that I fly directly along Mona's route without stopping. I could see her leave the building and get in the car. She drove a light convertible, making it easy to see from the air. At 6:42, she started for the Jewel Street rendezvous. My job was to follow and notify Lieutenant Tyler of her position. He, in turn, directed the movements of 4 squad cars. Adam, Castle to Tyler. 305 Adam, Castle to Tyler. Castle to Tyler. Subject is turned on to Jewel Street. 305 Adam, Castle to Tyler. Subject is turned on to Jewel Street.
Pilot to all cars 10-8. Subject has reached rendezvous. Proceed carefully to designated positions in Jewel Street area.
10-8, over and out.
With the disappearance of Oliver Dunning, we had lost the only lead which might bring the case to a quick solution. Now we could only try to turn Murcott's anxiety to pay the ransom for the painting to our advantage. Adam. Subject has left telephone booth, heading north on Highland.
Tyler to all cars. Proceed north parallel in Highland Avenue. Do you read?
10-8, over and out.
Once Mona left the phone booth, we had no idea where she was going for the payoff. We expected a deserted location with good visibility, possibly the mountains. Instead, she headed back to town. I followed, serving as Tyler's eyes. The strategy became clear when Mona turned off at the Hollywood Bowl. Here, at this hour of the morning, he could isolate her completely. No squad car could approach without being seen. .305 Adam. Subject has entered Hollywood Bowl. We both saw him at the same time. A small figure detaching himself from the shadows at the edge of the bowl. From my height, he was completely unrecognizable. Without hesitation, he walked briskly down the aisle and got the money. .305 Adam. Subject leaving with money. Check with girl on painting.
Tyler to all cars. Proceed to Hollywood Bowl. Proceed to Hollywood Bowl. Intercept suspect in white wagon. Go get him, boys.
The suspect had reached the freeway before Tyler notified me that Mona had the Fragonard. I gave him the suspect's position and began to lose altitude. With the painting safe, Tyler ripped the lid off. He set his own squad cars in direct pursuit, radioed headquarters for all the help he could get. .305 Adam. Suspect heading north on Hollywood Freeway toward San Fernando Suspect still heading north on freeway, just past Coldwater Canyon off-ramp. Adam. Believed suspect is aware of helicopter. He's exiting freeway at Woodman Avenue off-ramp. Suspect traveling west beside Valley Riverbed. Adams, suspect forced into riverbed by Valley Police. Suspect trapped at Sepulveda Dam. He just wouldn't stop.
It was good enough for Dunning. They got Dunning's files. He was working for Nolan.
Excuse me, Lieutenant.
Don't waste your charm on her, Sergeant. She's a cop hater.